643 Sports. I'm Ted Goose Conley with my co-host Ryan Shaver. We are talking NBA. We already did a Rookie of the Year video and an MVP video, so we're going right down the list. This is probably one of my favorite topics: surprise teams, teams that are going to disappoint this year. A lot of options out there. There's 30 of them, but we're trying to pick some guys that are, or some teams that are going to either kind of either improve from last season or improve for what most people are thinking, or disappoint from what they are predicted to do this year. So, Ryan, start off with whatever you want, man. I'm here to listen, here to rebuttal. What do you got, man?
So, pleasure being here. My biggest disappointment is a playoff team from last year who will also make the playoffs this year, but due to the heightened free agency acquisitions, are going to be the biggest disappointment. That's the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I do like the addition of Paul George because he's long, he's athletic, he can guard a lot of positions, and at 6'10", he can do a lot of things. Russell Westbrook, we already know, bona fide MVP, can do it all. Has the ability to take too many shots at the wrong time, I believe, but he can now defer a little bit this season with having some extra bodies there. Carmelo Anthony, don't like. He's old, he's slow, he doesn't play defense, he shoots too much. Not trying to bash you, Carmelo, but you're not any good anymore. You can probably give it up. So my biggest disappointment, Oklahoma City Thunder, only because the expectations are so high. They're not better than Golden State. They're not better than Houston. They're not better than probably a few other teams that I can sit here and name right now. But I just think that the biggest disappointment, they're going to make the playoffs, no question. They might even get a home court advantage in the first round. But they're far and away my biggest disappointment because I can see them getting bounced in the first round just because I don't think that chemistry is going to work. Not enough shots, not enough seconds on the shot clock, not enough time in the game to get everybody 25, 30 shots a game.
Dude, I'm with you. Like, if I had to pick one team that's going to disappoint, it's the Thunder. Reason number one, Melo, you're not any good. I'm going to piggyback off of what Ryan said. I actually, and this might not be a bold prediction, there's probably a lot of people that think that outside. Well, now in New York, probably people in Denver probably think the same thing. The only people that think Melo's any good are probably people that live in Syracuse, New York. So the Melo probably makes the Thunder worse. After the acquisition of Paul George, so you have Russell Westbrook, who was the Thunder, and with that, band of misfits he had, to be honest, on that team. They were, what, a 6 seed last year? A 7 seed? Right?
They were the 7 seed. They played the Rockets in the first round.
Okay, so they're a 7 seed, right? So you get Paul George, good basketball player. You now move up in the West maybe 2 spots. Maybe now you're a 4 or 5 seed with that loaded West. Okay? With Melo, I think with the shots that he's going to be taking, he's going to be taking the ball out of good players' hands like Paul George and Russell Westbrook. I think they're back down to a 6 seed. I think the Thunder are going to disappoint incredibly this year to the point where it's going to cause tension. We're going to have Russell Westbrook wearing the really weird glasses and the really weird shirts, basically passive-aggressively making fun of Carmelo Anthony. That's a bold prediction. That's going to happen. And it's going to be, I think, a little cancerous in Oklahoma City. And I think Paul George is going to be sitting in the corner like, dude, I should have went to L.A. So that's my biggest disappointment. I think the Rockets, kind of on the same lines, not as bad as the Thunder. I don't think it's going to be cancerous by any means, but I think you get this big name like Chris Paul, people. Did they really improve the team with that trade? They were the 2 seed last year. Are now they better than the Warriors? Not even close. Like I said, I think you can make the same argument. They might be worse losing those 4, bench players that were just high spark energy, the best bench in the league last year. And I think that won the Rockets a lot of games. So I think that's my 2 biggest disappointments: Rockets, Thunder. I think the Pelicans continue to disappoint. You know what I mean? I think everyone kind of, with Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis, now with DeMarcus, they kind of keep waiting to here they come, and then they just don't ever come. They just stay at that 9-10 seed. As far as Eastern Conference go with disappointments, I'll let you, after I answer this, I'll let you give it back to you for your Eastern Conference disappointment. I know you don't agree with this one, but I'm going the 76ers. The trust the process saying has been very catchy, it's very popular. At a certain point, the process has to come to fruition. I don't agree with being bad for a decade to be good. At a certain point, you have to win games. And Embiid's great. Ben Simmons, who knows? I think he's going to be good. I really do. And I think Fultz is going to be good, but are they going to be superstars? And it's a superstar league. So if the 76ers don't make the playoffs this year, is it a disappointment? Back to you.
Yeah, it's so tough to say because they're so young. They added JJ Redick for a little bit of veteran leadership. I'm gonna give PE trust the process. I'm gonna give it one more season because I think this is the kind of like a transitioning year, a real make or break. They got 2 number 1 picks coming in with the addition of Fultz and Ben Simmons technically being a rookie this year. Joel Embiid signed a massive contract for a guy who's played like 31 true basketball games in like 4 seasons in the NBA. Granted, he's Hakeem Olajuwon-esque in the ability to do some of the things athletically, but this is kind of a big year because if they can prove that they can win 35, 45 games, somewhere in that range, because I don't think they're any better than 45 wins. Maybe they can lure a free agent in the offseason, a bona fide, number 2 guy or a number 1 guy to take some of the pressure off of these young kids, give them some veteran leadership. So I'm going to give them one more year. They should make the playoffs because to me, my biggest disappointment is the 3 seed to the 15th seed in the Eastern Conference because none of them are any good. None of them are legitimate contenders. Give me the Celtics, give me the Cavs. We could play a 2-team Eastern Conference for all I care. Let them play every game.
Dude, the Wizards are
Because
decent.
the East is bad.
The Wizards are decent. Give the Wizards some love. They're decent.
Look, the Wizards are decent. The Raptors are decent. Can either of those teams line up and be competitive in a 7-game series against the Cavs or the best team in the West, which is Golden State, San Antonio, or Houston? I don't think so. I don't see it. I really don't. They need help. They need to get some of these guys that are silly enough to go west to go back to the east because it's way easier to get to the finals that direction over on the West Coast. I don't understand this, but my disappointment is the whole Eastern Conference.
Yeah, dude, I agree with the Eastern Conference. I can't believe some of these superstars that are going to the West. Like, why are you doing that? They play with other superstars, I get it. But you could, like, Paul George, just lure one guy to Indiana and you're in the finals. Like, why can't the opposite work? Why is it Paul George luring people instead of the opposite? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's just all schematics and logistics and that's how the cookie crumbled or whatever. But let's move on. So we've got our disappointments. Let's go to surprises. And this one I think it's a little easier for me because there's a lot of bad teams that I think are improved. I'll start with one of my favorite teams from last year, just playing fantasy, and I love Nikola Jokic. I always liked Millsap in Atlanta. He was part of that core Atlanta Hawks team that was pretty good there for 3 or 4 years before Harford bolted, and Teague bolted. So I like the Nuggets this year. I think they make the playoffs, which I think a lot of people are kind of thinking they will too. I think they fall in like the 6 to 8 range and maybe give the Spurs, the Rockets, the Warriors a series in the first round. I think Jokic is going to be a triple-double machine this year. He's got vision for a big man that's pretty impressive. I don't know if he's got range. He can play some D. I don't know how much, mountain basketball you're watching, but they got some solid veterans like Manimal, Fareed. I think they lost Gallinari this year to the Clippers, but he was a cripple anyways. And they got some good young players like Jamal Murray can fill it up. Moutier, man, he's hit and miss. I've seen him play some really good basketball games, and you're like, that's what they drafted. Then I've seen him turn into kind of like a bum, and you're like, man, disappointing. But if they can put it all together, I like the Nuggets a lot. Now with Paul Millsap too, another veteran, they got some big. I think people are gonna have a hard time matching up with him inside because they got one guy that can stretch, and they got 2 guys in Millsap that can stretch and bang. I think you forget Paul Millsap averaged 13 points and threw 13 rebounds in college, and when he played for the Jazz before he learned how to shoot. That's all the guy did was eat rebounds. So, and then Fareed, he can board. So I don't know. I think the Nuggets might be a tough matchup. Yeah, and that's one of my biggest surprise teams. What's one of yours?
I'm gonna stay out west. I'm gonna take the Sacramento Kings. They added Zach Randolph in the offseason, Vince Carter for a little bit of leadership with a bunch of really young guys. A lot of people are high on De'Aaron Fox at the point, agile guy. Seems like he's kind of got a little bit of that it factor. Real classy guy, real smart, intelligent, knows the game of basketball. So I like him. They got Buddy Hield. He's coming into his 2nd season. He's not a guy who can create his own shot, but if Zach Randolph still has a little bit of juice and can garner a double team, he can definitely fill it up from the outside. They picked up Josh Jackson, who's a good perimeter defender in the draft from North Carolina. He can shoot the ball as well. Frank Mason, another gutty, undersized guard, but played 4 years at Kansas, All-American, Player of the Year candidate. I do like some of these young pieces. Granted, it's a complete stretch to see if they make the playoffs, but I'd be shocked if they didn't win, 39, 40 games. Maybe sneak into an 8th spot if they matured at the right time. But you know what I mean? You're asking me for surprises, and I'm taking a leap of faith here, picking the Sacramento Kings, who haven't made the playoffs since probably Jason Williams was leading the team with Weber down the floor.
Right on. Yeah, no, so I actually, I don't know how you feel with the Nuggets pick. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about the Nuggets pick?
I would throw them in the same category, right there with the Phoenix Suns. Like a couple of teams with some good young talent: Eric Bledsoe, Devin Booker, Josh Jackson. Guys that can. A lot of people are high on, but the West is so deep, man. If you were to tell me right now, Phoenix, any of those teams finished better than the Portland Trailblazers with two bona fide stars in the guard position, I'd say I believe it.
Yeah, no,
The Trailblazers were an 8 seed last year. I mean, they had no chance in the playoffs, but at least they're playing more basketball, playing more than 82 games. So I lump all those teams together right there, all four. What we name 4 teams? Yeah, I lump them all together.
So another surprise, maybe not because they made a lot of acquisitions, is I like to call them the Northern Chicago Bulls, the Minnesota Timberwolves, with Thibodeau, Jimmy Butler, and Taj Gibson. The Wolves made so many acquisitions and lineup changes. I think Tibbs is a good coach. I think he's pretty well respected. He's a good coach. And then you look at their starting lineup. So they got Cat. Man, what's his name? Montrezl Harrell, the other Louisville guy. Gorgie Dieng, right?
Something like that.
Gorgie Dieng.
Tyus Jones from Duke, backup point guard.
Tyus Jones, and they got Jeff Teague now, who I think is better than Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio is a wizard with passing, but Teague is probably a better defender, probably a better shooter. And
I was never high on Rubio. I don't think he was that good.
Right. So then but I think Teague. My point is Teague's an improvement, and then you got Jimmy Butler who can fill it up. And then you got Cat, and then you got Andrew Wiggins. I mean, the list goes. I mean, they have a solid. And Taj Gibson coming off the bench. They have a pretty. And I think they re-signed Shabazz Muhammad, which I know he isn't really good.
They did.
But he's a solid guy to give you 10 to 15 minutes. I don't know. I really like the Timberwolves. I honestly think that I wouldn't be shocked to be like, man, this team is a legitimate. And then they're sitting in the semifinals playing the Spurs, the Warriors in the second round. I mean, they got a lot of good players.
Who's their backup center? Is it
No, because they only have 3 big men now. It's Taj, Dieng, and Cat.
Okay, all right. They must have traded that guy. He provided solid minutes. He was a starter. I can't think of his name. Foreign guy, probably from Poland or something. Good basketball player, but I just can't think of his name. But I was gonna say that'd be another key piece. But if they got Gibson, which I forgot about him in the trade, that's a sufficient player there.
Yeah. Who else are you looking at, man?
76ers, we kind of discussed on it. I think that this is a make or break year. Hey, I forgot they got Jahlil Okafor too. How come he's not playing more minutes? Something's going on behind the scenes there because he was the MOP candidate when they made their run to the national championship. Like,
because
something's got to be wrong.
He's like a pylon, like those things in the NFL. They put him in the corners to guard the end zone. Yeah, that thing plays better defense in the post than Jahlil Okafor.
His hands are better than that though.
Yeah, you're right.
They picked up JJ Redick, man. Like I said, dude, if I could see them in a bad Eastern Conference winning 40 games, and then they pick up a big acquisition in the offseason, and they're relevant again somehow. But,
right.
I'm gonna take Philly and Sacramento if I have to.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, we were talking about offline how bad. Like we're like, oh man, we got all these Western Conference teams with like Suns, Kings, Nuggets, T-Wolves, and it's like who in the East? I can't even. Everyone that is good or is supposed to be good is going to be good. I don't think any of those teams in the East are going to disappoint. And the teams that are supposed to be bad are going to be bad. I think the only thing I can think of is maybe a team that makes a move from good, like not even good, but maybe they make the jump to good as the Bucks. And I know I talked in another video about Giannis. I think he's an otherworldly player. He doesn't have a lot to help him. But Jabari Parker is coming back. I forgot about him. Greg Monroe is coming off the bench. Dellavedova is okay. Malcolm Brogdon. And then they got the other point guard there. Not Dellavedova.
They got John Henson in the middle. Too.
John Henson plays decent minutes. I know that I'm not naming these great basketball players here, but
they still have Chris. They still have Chris Middleton.
Yeah, he was hurt all last year, and yet now he's there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Bucks could make the next step, kind of like the Wizards did last year. Like John Wall came out of his shell, and Bradley Beal went bonkers, and even Gortat was making passes through his legs, like Ricky Rubio there towards the end of the season. Maybe the Bucks make that move. Maybe they not. Jabari Parker needs to stay healthy, that's for sure. But I guess that's a surprise team from the East. Anything else, man?
Nah, I like it, man. Sound picks. It's the NBA, man. It's gonna be It's another topic of conversation, but I'll see Cavs and Warriors part 3.
Yeah, right on. All right, dude.
Later.